guess to start off, before any questionnaire and introducing our guest, I had this small story to tell. So getting ready today was a bit of hectic of a task. I completed it. I made sure that I go to my family, ask them how am I looking. The very different answer that I got today was, "Oh, you look human today." So the very first question is still AI replacing humans, or it's just replacing the way how we roast humans? But this is my journey for today, but we have our guest today with us. Thank you, Niti, for coming. So to start off, I would really want to know, from being the responsible person of the work and then becoming a responsible mother, how has that journey been like?
I think I was always passionate about my work. Every day I would wake up to work hard. And when we started ConsultAdd 14 years back, the only passion was to make sure that we reach everywhere, we reach where our passion goes. But becoming a mother was totally a game changer. You don't get sleep. You have definitely lots of nights where you are frustrated because you are taking care of a little one. So it changed my life, and I think I nurture my daughter as much as I nurture my work. So the passion and the nurturing came together now, and I've learned a new skill.
Yeah. So let's talk a step back from here. Let's walk through how this journey started. When you started off from, what was your education like? What triggered you to come to US? And then what kind of companies you worked and what kind of things you nurtured from there?
Yeah. So I was doing engineering, like we all do, like lots of engineers in this world. I was doing engineering, and during my third year, I got selected in Wipro Infotech. I had a good placement in Kochi. I love the world of Kochi. It's a beautiful place. I was visiting Munnar, and after visiting Munnar, we were having a little mini vacation, and I decided to give GRE and TOEFL. And that's where I nailed the score and I applied to a university. I was receiving a good award which is called TRB Award. It's like a Team Rainbow Shining Award. That was 10th month of my first job. And I received obviously the invitation from NJIT, which is New Jersey Institute of Technology. Definitely I wanted to go to US. We all dreamed of, so whenever I thought of US, it's New York. I didn't have any idea about New Jersey. I had no idea about places like Charlotte, which I currently reside in, big buildings, all light shows. So I accepted the offer, and that's how I came to NJIT. Yeah.
If my mother is watching it, TOEFL and GRE are quite tough right now. Please. But yes, let's talk about your experience when you went to New York and then started working in companies. Was there a difference of culture that you felt once you were working in India and then you started working in companies that were set up in US?
Yeah, it's a big cultural difference. I'm a vegetarian, and I usually say in a funny way, I'm a born vegetarian. I don't even eat, lot of egg and like the second and third form of egg, like cakes and all. So when I went to US, the first thing and the first culture is people talk a lot about food and weather, and I could not give lot of discussion and inputs about food because I was a pure vegetarian, and they would talk about the meat and the different type of meat they eat and all that sort of stuff. Nevertheless, I learned it. And the second thing about the culture is learning about the weather and the games. I, being totally someone who is interested in all the female type of stuff, I was not playing football. So never learned football in India. Why would I learn there? So the my discussions actually came in very later when I used technology as reference. I connected with people on how I can transform people with my technology. And I like my first few conversation happened with where I come from and how I have used technology to grow my career. So that was my starting point.
Yes. And I think so. The question that I would have as a follow-up is that when you complete your education background and there's this dream company that you think of, oh, that's the dream company I want to go. So what was your dream company, and then where did you land up, and how was that experience?
My dream company was Google slash Facebook too, which is now Meta. I gave interview of both. I actually got selected in Google as internship, but I was in my second semester of NJIT, so I had to travel from like New Jersey to California, so I couldn't accept the internship because of the travel. That time, the US laws were very strict with F1 visa. I think they're still now, so be aware if you're coming and you're thinking you're gonna get a job in first year of your visiting of US, you can't do so. So that's where my dream shattered. I couldn't join Google internship, and then I failed Facebook interview. I actually gave Facebook interview for Chronos as a tool, which is again a kind of CRM slash something that help employees in services. So I failed in Facebook. Then finally I joined Electrolux.
So if you're failing somewhere, that means you're still winning, guys. Big game. Uh, let's talk about where your motivations comes from, because I went through your profile and I see there's a lot of work that you did in CRM, a lot of work that you did into business enterprise levels, and then agile as well. How does it still so related to technology when there are big companies that operate in a very orthodox way, but still want to foster technology? How was that process like for you?
So that I have a really good answer for that. Companies like Michelin don't need sales and marketing. They use tools to bring in adaptability. And so when I joined Michelin, they were using CRM for bringing in transition into having something which is called paperless invoices. They would invoice their customers with papers, and that's what they wanted to transition into. They wanted to transition into digitalization. So they were not using sales for CRM. They were not using sales for making sure that everything get converted. They were using it for digitalization. That means if you are sending a paper invoice to their customer, they wanted to simply use computer to do their activity. So that's what companies like Michelin use it for.
So was Michelin your first company or second company that you get into?
Yeah, that was my second company, but with Salesforce, it was my first one.
Okay. So it's a very important question that we would like to address. People usually take a pause when they want to learn new things, take a break from what they're working, education. And from your experience, it seems like you are working and parallelly managing your personal learning.
Education,
so
yeah.
How do you manage personal growth parallel to the work that you're doing in that period of time?
I mean, life is all about learning. That's what I have learned. If you're passionate about something, every day you would just think how you can learn more, and that's how I grew up. Being the female child of the family, I was always questioned about do I have a passion for it? Do I want to really learn it? Can I just go home and cook? So that actually taught me a lot of multitasking, and with my learning I could also work. Yeah.
So I think so it brings us to a very important question. Being a she leader, you get day offs, you get Christmas holidays, you get Thanksgiving holidays. But if you are somebody who has a responsibility of family as well, there's never a day off. So when you wake up in the morning, and there are days or times when you say, not today. So how do you overcome that?
I think the society is very much transforming these days. I would, definitely, I didn't wanted to address his name, but my husband is my big support. So whenever I feel that today is not my day, I actually rely on him. I'll give you a simple example. I had an 18-hour flight with my little one who was just 8 months old. And taking her to this big travel, she won't leave us. She would just want to cling to us because she didn't knew any other way. She didn't knew the outer world. And when I had to carry her for 18 hours, the next morning I didn't woke up. But my daughter was still fine because I had a big support. He was taking care of her. So sometimes you rely on your parents, you rely on your family. And I think I had a good support system. Yeah.
Yeah. Green flag, guys. Green flag. But so it brings me to another very interesting question that I think so all of us want to know about. If you're working in an environment for a longer time, there is a point where you are considered for leadership roles. And when you come from a tech background, there's not a lot of exposure to managing teams, to being a leader.
Yeah.
How did you foster that kind of skills when it comes to transforming into a new company that you're building, or maybe leading a team, or how do you manage all of that?
Well, I think the world is changing. I think emotional quotient, like you mentioned, is the thing which everyone requires, right? Everybody go for it. Everybody wants EQ rather than IQ now anymore. So, I think I always had that, and I promote that. Being technical sound comes with consistent learning. So, to females like me or someone who wants to become a leader, I would suggest go for your strong technical learning and then go for leadership. So emotional quotient is something you have. It can be developed, but technical learning requires a lot of passion and you have to do hard work. Yeah.
You have been through a lot of companies. You have worked with different kind of people. So there might be two kind of motivations that comes in picture. Where you understand that's something that I should follow, being inspired from an incident or a story, or a person or a personality, that this is the person I can look up to.
Yeah.
Can you share us some of the stories or a person that you thought you can admire and kind of do what he does, or probably a story that made you in a pause moment and think, hey, this is something I should think more about?
Yeah, I think I'm always inspired by my grandmother. She was a single woman. She had no one to support, and obviously she had her own struggles. But long back, like 60 years back, she could do a job which obviously the society wouldn't accept. I had big inspiration for that, and I also tried to get there's a famous saying right now. I'm building my own table, not just on the seat on the table. So I think that's what my grandmother did, and all the women in the world are doing. Obviously, I get a lot of inspiration from men's also, like someone like Sundar Pichoi. He is inspiration to a lot of folks who is actually building a C-suite for for Google, and I think I get the inspiration from him by being a family man. So yeah, I mean, I get inspiration from people like this. Like they can build a family, at the same time they can build a career. Yeah, which is a hard thing to do. Now I have a daughter and I know how tough it is.
Yes, I think so. That is quite relating to what I wanted to know more, and I'm sure a lot of the people who would be listening to this would also agree. How important it is to maintain like a work-life balance?
There's nothing like that. I think there's nothing like work-life balance. I believe sometimes you have to focus on work and sometimes you have to focus on life. And some days there are a lot of struggle. But for me, when I work for 24/7. And sometimes when I take a break for 24/7. So for me, balancing is, I believe balancing is quite difficult when you're growing, when you're building a career. But at the same time, if you have a suggestion, do let me know.
As you told that you work at Michelin, and it's a company that has been established for ages and ages ago.
100 years.
100 years. And what kind of things did you learn there? Because they have their own French environment, they have their own processes and culture to follow. What were the take-ons from there?
Yeah, Michelin is definitely a French company. So if you know Google Maps, right? One of my manager told me a story about Google Maps that they had something similar, but they actually didn't adapted it to turn out to be Google Maps. So Google Maps was adapted from Michelin, but then became Google Maps by Google. So I think they are good in what they do. They are very comfortable with what they have, and they are French folks, so they are very straightforward. And I mean, world knows about the culture in Europe. Like it's been 10 years of me being in US, so I'm used to saying hi, being very kind to people, and not being very straightforward. So when I saw some French folks, I was pretty much surprised that how straightforward they are. That means if you're not doing a good job, you will hear it. Yeah, you're not gonna hear that hey, can you have, like, I'm gonna have a retrospective meeting for it. You'll just hear the feedback. So I think with Michelin, I learned that they are pretty straightforward. And I had pretty much a lot of incidents where I went to bathroom and cried a lot because I couldn't accept that culture. But it's part, and like, coming from India, I understand we are different. They are different too.
Yes. Was there any clash when you all get together over in a party? Because they're poles apart when it comes to Indian food culture and French food culture.
Yeah.
Were there any incidents related to that?
No, I mean, my stories roll around, definitely being vegetarian and non-vegetarian. I'm sorry, I can't help it, but anywhere I used to go, there would be just salad for a vegetarian. Like, at least have a bread. So I didn't have clash though. I mean, I understand it. I accept it. I should accept their culture. I should accept their food. But there were plenty of folks who accepted me too. Like, when I came in, they cooked something different for me. So yeah, I mean, that's how I grew.
So that takes me to another important question. So you still had to patch tires, or you get a new one every week?
No, I mean, it's like, when you buy Michelin, you don't have to suffer a lot. Let me tell you that. Michelin has a winter tire, Michelin has a summer tire, Michelin has a snow tire, Michelin has a mining tire. Let me tell you a story. I was visiting South Africa, and there was a mining tire which we were selling, and you cannot imagine how much a mining tire costs. It must be like a 1 year salary of mine. So they are pretty expensive. So no, I mean, they don't give me any discount, but I love them still.
So that means I should not apply to Taco Bell then. But it seems like in once you establish yourself in US and then you start working with different companies, there are a lot of things that you think, oh, this is something that I should have learned before.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to advise yourself to that lady that came first in US and was struggling with a F1 visa to go from here to there, what kind of I would say suggestion you would have for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that in like 6 months, everyone is unique. Just accept them. So I would, like, mold people in certain way, and I would think that everybody should be like that. Like, everybody should be disciplined, everybody should be hardworking, but there are people who are very smart. So I adjusted to that, and I learned from that. And so I now no longer mold people, or like, expect people to be certain way. I accept everyone as they are. That was my first learning. Second thing is, if you're someone like me, build good communication. Obviously, communication is not the core. If I could do it, you could do it. But communication is the bridge, which actually links you to someone else. So I had lots of stories where people couldn't understand me, and I think that was my pain point. So I think I would go back and learn more vocabulary and go back and use it.
But as you talked about, creating a communication and bridging that gap and maybe fostering more relationships. We recently saw that you went to these events that are organized by Salesforce, Dreamforce, and then Agentforce as well. What are the key takeaway that you had? And I have a follow-up question to that. So you come from a background that are heavily invested into working with CRMs, creating those processes and automating them. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, the topic, the elephant in the room, these processes are getting automated day by day.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the Agentforce was all about. So you think there are still places where maybe CRM, Salesforce integrations would require no human efforts. It would go just the way clicking from here to there. So that were the two questions I had.
No, I don't agree with that. Actually, those who are building these automations are humans. So I believe the agent force or the AI has come in to help us. And I think all we have to do is ramp up our knowledge to get going with the agent force, at least in Salesforce. I myself, I got certified in agent force. I'm an AI specialist. And I learned that I can use this to build in AI into so many companies. Like, imagine You're chatting with the chat box, and the chat box doesn't know anything about you. How would you feel? You'll feel like, guys, you should improve your software. So AI is just bringing in that value. Now the chat box knows who you are, what you like, what you want, and before you type, they know what you're asking for. So I think I love it. As a customer, if I go to Nike and they sell me Reebok shoes, or if I go to Facebook and they know I always buy Nike, and if they sell me Reebok, I will hate them. So that's marketing, that's strategy, and I think AI is helping us build that.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a partner that listens to you, AI is your catch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very important point that you draw talk about strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come from a business analyst background, there's a lot of work that goes into building strategy and in creating workflows around them.
Mm-hmm.
And then simultaneously, when you become a leader, strategy plays a very crucial role in making decisions. Sometimes taking hard decisions that are good for the company might be hard on people that you work with. So, how do you plan a strategy when it comes to being a leader?
I think my strategies are not related to emotions. I don't let emotions come in between when I'm working, and I don't let my work come in between when I'm with my family. So I think when you are in business, you have to make sure that you are actually focusing on building something. If I go into emotion, I'm actually sacrificing the career of hundreds who are relying on me. So what I have learned is don't bring in emotion, but like I told you, EQ, emotional quotient. You should actually make decision based on that. Like what is beneficial for you in long run. If and coming from a business analyst background, like you said, I know what's right for my business. Yeah.
There is one other important question that a lot of us would have. So once you work in big companies, there are people who come from different age group, different cultures, and once you become a leader, there's a opportunity or there's a scenario where you have to work with people of different ages, right? How important it is to have a personalized overview to each one of them, or maybe you keep it just generic for everybody?
I mean, see, everybody, like every age has an advantage. Like example, like someone who is a 40-year-old comes with an experience, and someone who is young come with like a passion to bring in something very very new. So I think having a team that collaborate together and bring in all of this is something I crave for. And even in my personal life, I love to take feedbacks. So having a new feedback versus experience feedback is what you should go for. And I think that's what builds a team. Yeah, and that's what makes a leader.
Yes, I think so. Constructive criticism
Yeah.
is important, but in organization, sometimes a feedback that is constructive in its nature is taken on the other side. Being a leader or being in an environment where now you have to manage people, how do you make sure that a feedback goes in most of the positive way rather than going in the negative side?
I mean, it depends on how you communicate, right? If you're communicating to someone in a big group and you're giving a feedback, that cannot be taken in the right way. If you're giving a feedback one on one, making sure someone understand your point in the best way they can, that's what I would go for. So for me, I'm a very straightforward person, and I had lots of stories where I would come in and hurt someone easily. So you were asking me what I have learned with this 10 years of my experience. What I have learned is to communicate effectively. If I want to give a feedback, I give the feedback in the right way.
Let's talk more about your personal belongings and your personal life. I have seen that you are an avid reader. You like to read, write constantly. In this world where we have podcasts, we have Instagram, we have YouTube Shorts, is it still a viable platform? There is still a reader community that is taking care of that genre as well? Yeah, I maintain a Medium profile too. Medium is a tool where you write and collaborate.
But at the same time, remember we were in the era of Orkut, where when the Facebook came in, none of us actually transitioned. We thought that we will keep using Orkut, but lots of our friends went to Facebook. So that's the same thing I feel. I have gone to podcasts too. I mean, I love to read, but why not podcasting? So every night I hear a podcast. I sleep with podcasts, and luckily or unluckily, in my case, I have to wake up lot of times because of my daughter. So when I have to sleep back again, I hear a podcast or I read something that gives me a nice sleep. So it's still eligible, still viable in my case at least.
And any book suggestions or any one that book you would like to suggest? One book that changed yourself as a person?
I think please read something that resonates with you. But I love all the books that are based on startups. Yeah.
A very, I would say, might be a tricky question. When you are in an environment where you start working, you want to grow gradually, you shift jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and then you shift from one company to another, and those companies have separate workflows, environment. So, is changing diaper tough, or is switching to companies more tougher?
That's a good question. No, I think till now, I love changing companies. So definitely changing diaper is much tougher than that. Actually, who would not love to change company? You meet new people, you meet new, like you obviously learn new skills, and it challenges you. I don't like to be comfortable. Always in my life, whenever I got comfortable, I changed. For example, when I was pregnant, I was doing my job happily. I decided to go for no cloud AI, and I challenged myself. So now I'm owning a company which is already 10-month old, same age as my daughter.
We might get half sued here. We have taken the half name from KnowCloudAI. But I think so. It's important for people to grow with time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one takeaway that I have learned from you today. But with time, there are situations where you have to be very rigid and solid. That
Mhm.
this is something that will not change. Has there been any points or values that you have stick since the beginning to the last?
Yeah, I think passion and definitely helping people. So passion can take you long way because you know every day when you wake up you have to have something like example I want to do this and this in my company, or I want to learn something, or I want to read a book, or I want to travel. Have something as a passion. It can be travel, it can be your work, or it can be your family. I manage everything together. But when it comes to having a value all the time, I think something that stays with me is, like I told you before, learning, growing with passion. Yeah.
Yes. So, as you said that you became mother of two, no cloud AI, and
Oh, I got it.
and your daughter as well. So, my very the first thought that comes to your mind is how did you manage both the things simultaneously?
Yeah. I mean, so when you're pregnant, obviously, you have high energy. You get a power of nurturing. There are a lot of people say that women get some quality of nesting. That means you want to build a home so that when the new baby comes in, you're actually making a place for that. That's where I started nesting no cloud too. And the passion of me having a CRM was growing from many long years. But then that's where I got some time. I was taking some maternity leave, some breaks, and that break gave me an idea of why not having something my own. So that's where becoming the mother of two came into picture. And I love that phrase, mother of two. I didn't realize I am. And I think the first 3 months when you have a baby, the baby sleeps straight like 8 to 10 hours. Ask me post that. It's the most difficult part of life. But when the baby sleeps 8 to 10 hours, you have like so many thoughts that, oh my god, my career is gone. Oh my god, I'm not gonna come back. You doubt yourself. And I think that's where I brought motivation to myself. That I can do this, I can build something that can bring work to others and definitely bring work to me. So yeah, not fighting competition, not thinking of what if I lose this job. I build a job for myself. Yeah.
Yes. I think so. It's important for every one of us to, you know, do what we enjoy the most, and then sometimes you might have self doubt, but that doesn't mean you're going in the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's just the hurdle that comes in the picture.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your hurdles also.
Mm-hmm.
Once you were building this company, and you come from a region that is not based in US, you are somebody who was an outsider doing your own American hustle movie. What hurdles did you face while building this company?
The first hurdle was the trust. Can I do it? Will it work? I think it's still it's still the issue. Will it work? It's gonna be successful or not? But I think I self assured myself that I can do this. I can make it work. I think it's definitely a fight which your mind does daily with you. That can I do this? Is it worth it? It's worth the time. So and the biggest hurdle of for me at least was fighting time, like to dedicate time to no cloud as well as to the newborn, because when you have a kid, you want to give them everything. You had them planned, you want to make sure that they get the best upbringing. So you are continuously in mother's guilt, that's called mommy's guilt, that am I giving the best to her versus am I giving my time to my company. So I think that was the hurdle for me, fighting my own guilt, fighting if it's worth it, and fighting about will I be successful or not. That's still the struggle. Yeah.
Mother struggles really, everybody.
Mhm.
But yes, you touched a very important point about ownership, that when you become a leader,
Mhm.
there is a situation when you come from a high level of expertise that if you allocate some work to somebody and you are still in that self doubt, hey, I think I can do that work better. So there are kind of leaders where they don't segregate their tasks, they want to do it on their own.
Yeah.
But as you told that you are also dealing with a newborn baby.
Yeah.
So did you have this strategy of allocating the task to people and then having that kind of structure in your team, or you were doing it all by yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm a manager for life, like you asked, right? A leader and a manager can be only someone who doesn't take everything in their hands. They have to understand the best quality of the person you're working with and assign them that task. And I trust my team. Obviously, they're my team because I have so much faith in them. So that's how I navigated through it. I assigned my task. I trusted people. Sometimes I was not even in front of computer because I can't give a screen to a newborn. So I was on phone, making sure that everything is right and make sure that things go correct. Yeah.
Hope so, they will. You talked about faith, but if you are a leader that is building an organization, you have to have a parallel contradicting mind. Like, hey, what if this fails?
Challenge yourself. Yeah.
So, did you have any backup strategy of, hey, if this is failing, that is the backup that I would have, because there's a lot of capital investment that also goes in.
Yeah. No, I'm not afraid of challenges. I was sure that whatever I'm gonna do, I'll be successful, and this is the time to take risk. Obviously, I had, like I was telling you, I had a comfortable job. I could have done that job, earned that salary, and lived my life peacefully. Also, done a great parenting. But I wanted to challenge myself. I knew that that challenge can have failures. So I was okay for that failure, at least in this point of career. You asked about did I had a second backup? No, because life doesn't give you backup. So why should I have it? Yeah.
It's a very important strategy that if you sometimes don't have a backup, I think so
You put
go
everything
all in,
into
you
it.
put everything. But yes, you talked about parenting. So we have age generation gaps where you think, oh, this is something that I would like my kid to have or to follow. How does that process goes with you? Like, this is the thing that I would foster when I'm parenting my kid. So, and how is it different from the way you were brought up?
Yeah, that's a very good question. As a girl, I faced a lot of challenges. the challenges of not getting the right environment to foster myself, my skills, and whatnot. For example, even if like I studied in a town where we didn't had a great swimming pool, so I couldn't learn swimming. So I think what I believe in is to give that environment to my girl child, that she gets everything she wants. And I don't want to comfort her so much. I mean, because of the challenging environment, I am what I am. So I also want to give her a challenging environment and let her learn herself. So two things I want to make sure: don't over comfort her, but at least give her the right environment to foster.
And when it comes to challenges, people always have a misconception that challenges means toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make sure that you navigate between two different things? Because sometimes people think, oh, my boss is putting pressuring me on its challenge. It might come as toxicity as well.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure in your team?
I think challenging yourself or challenging someone, you should have a right way to do it. Like again, I said, communication is the bridge to everything. If you don't communicate it in the right way, definitely it can feel toxicity. So for me, pushing people in the right direction is what I try to do. And if I feel someone is getting uncomfortable, I stop. Like I told you, I have a discipline and I like to work hard, but I cannot expect that from everyone. Someone can work smart, someone don't work on right on time, and all of that. So accept people as they are and challenge them as much as they can take. Yeah.
And is it?
But yeah, that's a nice point. I think I struggle with that. I don't know how much to push and where to stop. Like I think everybody is like me. Like they would wake up and they're like, I want to work. But few people just want to rest.
Yeah. And is it important for an individual who is working that he should, because there are people who are night owls. They work very good when it comes to in
working
late night
night.
hours. Yeah, they are caffeine addicted, open the laptops, work. Some of them are morning people. And then you might have people who have their different strategy of work, how they take care of the responsibilities, but the end goal for everybody is same.
Yeah.
Task line or deadlines.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that everybody who comes from different environment, have different way of working, are working towards the same goal?
Because you need to focus on the path and the goal, not on the person. That's what I feel. And obviously, if, like I was telling, if you're the right leader, you use the right skill to get to your goal. So I mean, you should not focus on someone's personality. Obviously, I love every personality. I'm very social. I can talk to anyone and everyone. That's my strength. I use it. But at the same time, if I cannot communicate, I don't stop. I just try. So, yeah.
You touched a very interesting point of being social.
Mm-hmm.
The early kids, the newborn, they are not very social with people.
Yeah.
And this will become a challenge because if you're with your kid, sometimes they start crying, sometimes they don't like the people that you're engaging with.
Yeah.
It becomes a little much, sometimes like oh, I had an important meeting, but the little one is not ready to get
clinging to you. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I hope we build a world where we all can interact with each other in a similar manner, like we used to play outside. We used to have a ground where we used to come together. Now the societies are becoming silos. And the great thing about Asian society was that we had our grandparents who took care of us, and our parents would never watch on us, right? So I think that's the society I want to give to my daughter too, like where she gets the time from her family, she gets to learn to be with people, but at the same time, imagine that is the world safe to have kids with strangers, right? So I mean, it's all upon what we build. But about me and my daughter, I think I'm so social that she'll end up being a social person. Yeah.
So, and this is a typical mindset that people don't talk about. Women's being social, and
Yeah.
if you're in rightly ideal state, you're said to be that one quintessential person who talks when it's needed. But today world is changing. You have to be social, not only to just to interact with people, but to communicate ideas, but to make sure that your voice is heard. So, and then people think of it as a promotional point. I really wanted to ask you that how do you make sure that there is a visibility in your character rather than just being a promotional point of view?
Yeah, I mean, right from the starting, what stands out in me or any woman is her confidence. It's not how much she communicates. A women can communicate, or men too. Sorry, I mean, I don't know why I pick up on women so much, but like if you're confident, it speaks. It speaks the volume. You can write with confidence. You can talk with confidence. You can interact with confidence. So I don't think confidence can be replaced with communication. I mean, it doesn't. So in a nutshell, if you're talking a lot, that is not the point. It's how confident you are. If you're coming in the room and if you're grabbing that attention for 2 minutes, that's what I crave for, and that's what I look for.
Yes. Is it rightly to say that, as you talked about communication and confidence, but a lot of the confidence comes from the history that you come from, the kind of environment experiences you have.
Yeah.
You are somebody who's now fostering or building a company that is into tech. In specific to tech domain, is it important for a leader to come from a background of technology, or a leader with good management skills, stand out as a personality of being a leader, can also do the same job?
I think it depends on what you're building. Asians are known for their technology. So I suggest that work on your skills. But if you're functional and if you're building something functional, like example, if you're into content marketing, why to be so much technical? You can definitely play with someone's content. You can build companies on the basis of functional knowledge. So for me, if you're building something, it comes with that domain knowledge, not just being technical. And to be honest enough, after a point, a leader has to take off his hand from the technical knowledge, right? So then you grow on the basis of your experience, your knowledge, and whatnot. So you don't have to be technical all the time, but personally, I love to have some technical conversations. I actually get a lot of that vibe if someone is technical. Like I can communicate with the person a lot of time if they are technical, and for the longer time. Yeah.
Yes. Playing on the same ground, right? So Niti, as a leader, your job is not only to build a viable product, but also to engage with people. You're not only responsible to manage them, but you're also responsible who is the right person to hire, and what qualities you want that person if he or she is in your team, right? So from a perspective of so many years, what would be that one suggestion you would give to everybody out there who's trying to break into tech, into CRMs and Salesforce, or becoming a mother? What are your thoughts on it?
I think be someone who can be trained. No leader is looking for a trained resource or someone who is very like charismatic, technical. We look for folks who can be trained because every domain is different, every company is different. So have your basic knowledge, and I would love to hire a resource who I can train. That's one thing. Second thing is stick to your values. I look for a very valuable person. That means what value do you bring to the team? Is it your positivity? Is it something that speaking with confidence? Is it someone who brings passion in the team? Or is it someone who is like, calm and composer? So all of us have a different value. Like example, I bring in a lot of nurturing to team. So yeah.
So that means the nurturing came before you become a mother?
Yeah. So I had a quality that I would always make sure that people around me learn too. And that's why I love Salesforce too. Because it's have a great training knowledge. It just doesn't train one person. It can be trained to everyone. Yeah.
And if we talk about businesses, if we talk about building a company or an environment, the very important question that comes to the picture is that, oh, what is the return of investment that we're doing today?
Yeah. Very important question. Yeah.
So if suppose, and then as you talked about your company, Salesforce do have their own charges when it comes to their services, and the company that you're fostering, they would be leveraging those services and making something out of it. So what is your strategy when it comes to return of investment in context to KnowCloudAI?
I think we are still learning. We are still making sure that we get the right investment or return of investment. For me, something that definitely we can achieve is targeting startups, companies who are like us, who actually are craving for AI, who want to have like agent force, who want to start their sales process and bring in digitalization. At this point, I want everyone to have like transformation, right? Why to stick to something which is old, using your old Excels and computers? Let's transform, guys. So, looking for some startups to get the investment and the return of investments.
And when you talk about transforming, and when you talk about this startup age environment, you come from a background where there is a lot of agile that is followed.
Yes.
And to a very layman person who doesn't know anything about IT tech industry, can you tell us what actually agile is, and how is it important, or maybe plays a catalyst when it comes to creating or developing a product into tech industries?
Agile is something that can change, as simple as that. Agile actually makes sure that when a product owner or someone as a customer is giving you feedback, you have that scope that you can edit that and have that feedback, accept that feedback, and build the product. So I think agile in life also is to have that capability to accept the change, have the feedback, improve yourself. Same thing as product. Change the product, take the feedback, and basically improvise the product. That's what agile is.
So that means I'm sure that your kid won't have any issues when it comes to cooking something, always having feedback in form of agile. We would come to the last section of our conversation. I call this the tombstone sentence. So no death in one place. It's very normal. One takeaway, or that one thing that you want the people to take from it, that Niti was so and so and she did so and so at the end of the whole journey.
Yeah, I think it's crazy you asked that question because I'm no one to give that feedback to anyone. But because you asked, I think something that can be taken away from me, like I can give as someone who is growing in this career and whatnot, is that never give up, because I had lots of challenges in life, and many times I thought that I would give up. I'll give you a small story. So when I was going for US visa, when I was going for education visa, I was rejected twice on the F1 visa, and the rejection was because my entire family was in US. Like my brother, my siblings, or my family, my father, my mother, everybody had the US visa. So they rejected me because if I go, the entire family is in US. But I was persistent. I was not giving up. So I tried third time, and I went with as much as confidence I went on the first time. So I think that helped me. So never give up, keep trying, and at the same time, life has its own thing to do. So never, surrender yourself. Fight for it, because life is not easy. That's what I have learned. Yeah.
Yes. So viewers, as we can take a gist from here, life is a puzzle. Just stick to the sequence, you will solve it properly, and the picture will be there. So with that, we come to the end of the session. I would really like to thank you, Niti, for joining us today. Not only giving us some professional lessons, but also personal one too. And I hope you have a great time having conversation.
Yeah.
And yeah, looking forward to see you again.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.